One of the main issues that are of concern to the public is about the money. And the starting point of the 6th Devolution Conference in Kirinyaga County is perhaps the hopping point for many Kenyans to address issues of the software politically across our counties, across the devolved units. And you look at the Auditor General's report and some of the governors who have been indicted or implicated in corruption scandal. Migori Governor, 2 billion, Governor Okoth Obado, 8 million, that is Busia Governor, 8 million, Sospita Jamong, paid to or contract awarded to people who are close to me, close relatives, companies that are formed. The same scenario played out to the Samburu County Governor. The Wajir Governor procured a vehicle for 26 million that ought to be 8 million. That is about 3 vehicles plus 2 million Kenya shillings, which will be the balance. You take a look at the report by the Auditor General on Nairobi under Evans Kidero, and the host of other governors have been put on notice by the investigative agencies. In terms of, getting out substantial, something that's tangible out of this conference, do we need to see beyond the mere political theatrics that normally plays out in such scenarios? Because we're expecting the president, the deputy will be there, and of course Raila Odinga will be there. How can we avoid the 2018 Kakamega-style conference where the starting point of the referendum debate started onwards from there?
I think you're right. When you highlight the number of governors who are in office and have questions to them, and actually the list is longer than what you have just said. And for me, devolution is what, 8-9 years into enforcement, and right now we have governors who are in their second term, but you also have others who are freshers, all right, in the deal. Now, for me, I'd take this back to the role of the Council of Governors. What is their mandate? Can they be given teeth, to bite? Can they be, the first point of call insofar as issues of integrity, issues of corruption that touches their own? In many cases, we see that once a particular governor is mentioned, then several other governors, rally against that person to defend. Yet we're just seeing that this is a clear case of devolved corruption, right from, national government all the way to the county government. And most of these governors that you also, have mentioned have had numerous court cases, and some of which were even questioning their election. And like Mheshimiwa says, right up to the Supreme Court, we saw an overturning, of
all of the governors' cases have been
all of the governors, and
because they have the money.
Because they have the money. So we are beginning to see that, so which institution is really, will Kenyans run to, for solace? And as you mentioned, all these big monies that are getting into people's personal pockets, we need to think about the common mwananchi, the mama mboga who is sitting in some county somewhere. When will he or she, ever say that I feel so proud, to be a Kenyan? Finally, my taxes are working for me. So I think Kenya as a whole, needs some radical surgery, I think, right from the top all the way, all the way down, if we are to ever even begin to scratch the surface insofar as the fight against corruption is concerned. But for me, I want to say that we have systems. Does Kenya have systems? Yes, we do. Do we have all the capacity to, do investigations and all that? Yes, we do. Do we have an Auditor General's report? Yes, we do. What are we doing about it? All right. So for me, this conference might just end up being just one of the many that they will do every year anyway, but result in basically nothing that will be of meaning to the local mwananchi. They're going to talk about ways in which they want to check the progress of the Big Four. The Big Four agenda that has just been rolled out for a few months now. But for me, the question is, do we want to hear to what extent have young people gotten jobs, at county level because of their effort? Are populace healthier? Are children eating better? To me, those are the things that really matter. But I think the Council of Governors has an opportunity that we are missing, all right, insofar as being on the front line on fighting corruption at the county level.
All right, where then does this place devolution, of course, Andrew, because then again, what she highlights is something that is justified, because this is not the first conference that we're seeing today. And the very same issues have been discussed, more so, the biggest thing that sort of, is being discussed today is the governors coming out to say that they need to see a flow of money good enough from the national, of course, to the county level. And when we're talking about corruption, then we again ask ourselves, why should we have a clear flow of money from this end to this end, yet still we're talking about the question of corruption? And worst of all is that by now devolution was expected to have been funding itself, at that particular county level. But we're seeing contrary to what we'd have expected. So where does it place devolution? Many have argued that this would have been the best thing for the people of Kenya, if at all it is handled in the best way possible. But then again, when we are having the wrong individuals at this particular juncture, then it means it is as good as useless.
Well, okay, Linda, I want to be positive about this conference. I seem to feel that I'm always negative. I think you can be positive about this, particularly this conference, because it's less expensive than last year. It's less. So that's a good thing.
You're right.
They're still wasting money. We look at the Big Four agenda, but we don't pay attention to the 14 devolved functions. One of the anomalies, the sad ironies of the last conference, the 5th birthday party held in Kakamega that cost $3 million, was that the rain, as Kenyans like to say, when did the rain begin beating us? Well, the rain started to beat Kenya in February of last year. And in the aftermath, during the conference and in the aftermath, people started to die as dams burst. Counties were flooded, and the devolved function of disaster management, which is, yes, shared with the national government. This is true as laid out in the Constitution. But it comes out that most of the counties, if none of the counties, I would venture, have any protocol, standard operating procedures, or plans, really, for how to handle disasters, disaster management. If you now have this fire has been burning on Mount Kenya in that area, which is in fact cuts across county lines, and that is exactly the kind of crisis where you would see the national government having to take the lead, because how do you, even if counties had firefighting facilities and fire brigades, it would not be able to accommodate such a cataclysm. California couldn't handle its fires, needed help from the federal government and from other states and even from Canada. But when I looked into the goals and objectives of the 6th Devolution Conference, it's all gobbledygook. Time for reflection. Reflection on what? And people are talking about now we have to look back over 6 years. Why not that was what the conference was looking at last time, but they was looking back over 5 years. And so everyone will show up in their $80,000 SUVs. And in fact, when you point out that a governor is accused of spending 26 million shillings, 260,000 US dollars for a car, rather than 80,000 for a car. Think of what we're saying here. We're saying that it is expected that elected members of governments who are, after all, being paid out of the exchequer, who are being paid out of taxes, that they should have $80,000 cars. Not just one, maybe 3. And we see this across all arms of government, though, where the Senate minority leader has 3 $80,000 SUVs and a whole host of staff. There's a certain acceptance that people should be living large. And so the last birthday party in Kakamega, 6,000 people went to live large. I don't know if 6,000 will go to
10,000.
10,000. Well, then 10,000 of your rulers, of the ruling class, will go live large in Kirinyaga, and they will be applauded by the members of the various embassies, the aid organizations, the United Nations, and others who will all go along to celebrate devolution again.
Okay.
But we also, last weekend, I realized when I was preparing for this show, there was a leadership conference for pastoralists. Yeah. So I guess they will transit from there to Kirinyaga. Yes, I guess they don't even see their constituents. No need to touch down at home.
As they rarely do.
Well, apparently not. If you're not benchmarking in New Mexico at some conference, then you're in Europe, you're in Denmark, or I don't know if the governors were able to get in on the World Cup, as our Moscow MPs did.
Some members went to Moscow.
But they did.
Well, 20-some-odd senators and members of National Assembly members went to Moscow to get their $1,000 a day per diem while having a great time watching football. To come back, because they were benchmarking, I suppose, to give advice and counsel to the now sacked Cabinet Secretary, who obviously didn't get a chance to read the report that they tabled in Parliament last year about their trip to Moscow.
And of course, the fiasco about Rio 2016 Olympics, in which the former minister Wario was also accused of, or under his watch, the loss of more than 50 million Kenya shillings, which is yet to be accounted for.